Join me every month for the inspiration to find your finish line. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Find Your Finish Line, the podcast that's not only about you being able to find your finish line at a race or an event, but also in life. I'll talk to people from all walks of life who have jumped over a lot of hurdles, had things happen to them that they didn't see coming, but they got back on their feet and they moved forward. And hopefully their stories will help inspire you to do the very same thing. Holiday time. Videos. I will do a personal video for a family or a friend. You can go to MikeReilly.net and sign up, and I'll do a video for one of your loved ones for the holidays. So get that in as soon as you can, because those things are starting to go out quite a bit. Well, my guest today is someone I've known for a very long time in our sport. I've respected immensely for a very long time in our sport. She is a mom of two. She's got a 6-year-old and a 15-month-old boy. She's got 73 Ironman finishes under her belt, which is just amazing. She's got a streak in IRONMAN New Zealand of 5 in a row, which I had the honor to bring her in at each one of those. 46-year-old Meredith Kessler. How are you today, Meredith?
I am so great. You added a year on me, though, and that can't happen, right? I'm really about 45 and a half the end of the month.
I'm going to change that right now. 45. I'm sorry. My mistake. I love it. You get to call me out right away.
I love it so much. Hey, when you become my age in life, you're like, every year matters, right?
But with
yes?
my age, every month matters.
That's right. I love it.
So how are you and the family today?
We are great. Thank you so much for asking. We're settling into holiday season, had a little gingerbread decorating at our, club last night. All is well. The boys are excited, and so are we.
Good. Well, my first question always, Meredith, on Find Your Finish Line, I ask every guest is, what kind of workout did you get in today?
Oh, you're so good. All right. Let's see. Today's Wednesday in my world here in Ohio. And I always do every morning without fail, like just to manage 2 humans. I do a wake up run. It can be anywhere from 2 to 5, 6 miles on my treadmill in my little she shed. And Crew used to join me for those. He'd like sit next to me, but now I'm trying to get him to sleep later. So I did, I did 5 miles this morning early. And then I went to take him to Ducks Club after I dropped Mac at school. It's all about logistics, Mike. And yep. I did a 12-mile run at the club, interval run, followed by my strength session with my strength coach. And that was an hour, 5 minutes. And then I segued right into a 5K swim. I was able to have, my husband works from home, so he was able to pick Crew up where I was and take him to nap. So I had a little buffer. I still got home and he wasn't up yet. It was great. I was able to cook dinner and return some emails, and then we picked Mac up at school. There you have it. I
am exhausted at your Wednesday. Usually, the reason I ask that a lot of times, especially if I do we're recording this in the afternoon, especially if I do a first thing in the morning podcast, I always catch somebody, and they're always embarrassed, like, I didn't get a workout in, or I just went for a walk. So you top the list for this year.
It's 6 p.m., so I have a little bit more time on my hands. Yeah, here.
So 2008, you were an age grouper at Ironman Arizona. Then your first pro race was, 2009, back at Arizona. You won Canada in 2010. Did you think that today, Meredith, at 45 years old, you'd still be racing under the pro ranks?
Sure. You know what? No, I didn't think I'd be racing pro. Let's see, my 15th year now, having been an age grouper for 9 years. But I laugh at myself because I'm 45 now, but I had a midlife crisis actually at 21 when I graduated from college. I was like, wait, because I went to Syracuse to play field hockey. I mean, I went to get an education, but my scholarship was for field hockey. I was there to play field hockey, and I love team sport. And then I graduated and I was like, oh my goodness, there's no more team sport. What am I going to do now? And that's when, and I've said this before, I slapped myself in an Ironman 2 weeks later, never been on a bike, did it in running shorts. It was awful. But I caught the bug then, and here we are 73 finishes later. As you know, age group 9 years, and then went pro in 2009. I still worked at Royal Bank of Canada then, and then I got rid of that day job and I went for it. But now here I am at 45, and I'm probably having an actual midlife crisis, right? And I'm like, nope, this old lady is going to keep going. And, there's the likes of Dee Dee Griesbauer and Mel McQuaid and Rach McBride, and we're all older on the start line, but we still have the gusto to try to perform and do our best as we get older.
Yeah, it's so admirable, and to be able to see all of you doing what you do and juggling life. My daughter's got 2 boys. Obviously, my niece there. She's got 2 boys in college and one in high school, which she says it's a lot easier now. She's just following them around what they're doing. But to be able to juggle that, you've got to have a partner in your life to be able to do that. A strong, loving partner, don't you?
Really, so true. And Aaron and I have been together, since we were 14 and 16. He's a couple years older, but my mom was his first grade teacher, so she allowed me to date him back then because our families have been friends forever. But it's funny to look back because, yes, we've been together so long. I mean, we're 45 and 48 years old, and we tried having babies when we were in our early 30s, and it wasn't producing babies. It was producing Ironman wins, and we went that route, and we're still nostalgic about that time, right? Even now, because let's be honest, having 2 kids is the best thing in the world, but it can be savage. It's logistics. It's you want to be a good parent. You hear Chelsea Sodaro understandably talk about mom guilt, a lot of the moms racing, and I think it's a good subject to like hone in on, but there's has to be a team around you to make it work. And I'm not saying like Aaron works. Aaron gave up his basically career for me back in 2014, and we traveled the world, and it was amazing. And now the baton has shifted probably 6 years ago, and he's trying to thrive. And so he's working hard at doing his thing, but I am very fortunate because he works from home, and that's worked with little kids and being able to juggle that. But it takes a village. It's that saying, it takes a village. And a lot of people say, what village? Where's the village? Well, let me tell you, you got to find your village. Yeah. You got to be reciprocal with your village. And I pride myself on that, my village. And we did. We moved from, as you know, California to Ohio. Mm-hmm. Both sets of parents are here. It was a big move. It was a hard move, but it was the best move we made, even though we miss, of course, California. It's just we were born and raised here, both of us. It just made sense in our lives. And we're very glad we did it. And now we're able to both thrive in our jobs respectively.
Well, when you first became a pro, Meredith, who'd you look up to in the pro ranks? Did you have an idol or a mentor or someone you thought, wow, I want to be like that person?
Sure. Oh, well, so many. I mean, obviously the obvious ones come to mind that are, Paula Newby-Fraser and Heather Fuhr and all that era. And of course, then there's the peers that you actually raced against, if you will, but you knew they were so much better. Chrissy Wellington, Leanda Cave, Jody Swallow, Rachel Joyce, obviously Rennie and I have we had children very close apart. Now she's pregnant with her third, and I'm like, you're awesome, Rennie. You're amazing. And so I'm really inspired by the people. We have that special bond. A lot of us did have babies around the same time. And some of us came back and some of us were like, nope, that was it. Like Chrissy Wellington, right? She won all her world championships. She retired, had her daughter, and she's on a great path, and that worked for her. And I'm just a squirrel trying to get a nut, just like I keep coming back for more after children, but I promise two boys is great. I am good with that for sure.
Well, you did Ironman Maryland, and you took a 5th place in that race. I mean, that is fantastic at 45.
Well, thank you. I was fortunate. I did Tremblant maybe a month before Maryland and got second. And I remember in that one, I was I think Rachel Zelinkas won a worthy win, and my favorite Sarah Crawley was in the race. I think she came 5th, and so many other amazing women. But as I'm in that race, and actually Dee Dee and I were 1st and 2nd basically off the bike, and right. Dee Dee, 51 or whatever, and we were like riding with each other at the end, like yeah. And then I'm leading this race, and I'm thinking, Oh my gosh. And again, it was a smaller race in a beautiful place that I love. Mont Tremblant, St. George, and New Zealand are my three favorites. I've always told you that. And as I'm getting passed for the win, which you've seen me pass for the win many times at later in the stage, but it was like mile 15 maybe when Rachel passed me, and I was just happy to get second, right? But I'm thinking, all right, I'm probably 18 years older than her. I just stopped breastfeeding last week. My hormones are outrageous. You're doing okay. Like, you have to say that like positive stuff to yourself, because the athlete in you, the one who wants to try to win for the team, is like, shoot, we didn't get that victory. And then I got greedy, and I was like, because I will say my goal, my goal, we all have to have goals, is to try to be the oldest female pro to try to win an Ironman. There's a big asterisk by that, which is choose races that all the young guns and the extra, vibrant racers aren't necessarily at. So huge asterisk, but that is a goal. And, I went for it in Maryland, and then you probably didn't hear, I crashed at mile 100. My son was there, and I crashed, and I was leading. Mel McQuaid and I, again, another veteran, and 4 others, we were leading it, and I crashed at mile 100, 6 minutes on the side of the road. I'm like, I'm a veteran. I've dealt with drama and races before, but I was like, shoot, here we are again. And I finished what I started, and I'm still most proud of that, because coming 5th, still made money, showed my son that even though I was hurt and beat up from a crash, I could try to finish what I'm started. And now that I'm a mom, like the business, Meredith, if I didn't have kids, maybe it wouldn't have been smart to continue, but I was like, nope, I can still move forward. I'm going to finish this bad boy. Yeah.
Well, we all know, Meredith, that especially with children, parents to children, actions speak louder than words. And what Mac witnessed, no matter if you came in 100th, you'd won the race in his eyes. So that's a beautiful thing. Speaking of Mac, you come to IRONMAN New Zealand, and everybody, Meredith and I and Aaron, we always stay at the same hotel, the Prince, right? Yeah, the Prince Motel.
Yep, you bet.
In Taupo. And it was like going home and having you there, and it was wonderful. Well, you're going for your 6th win in New Zealand, and I'm getting reports, well, Meredith's having a tough time. She's on the side of the road throwing up. And I go, well, she must have drank something too much or ate something.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking, well, but it's Meredith. And I'm telling the crowd, there's Meredith, 5-time winner here. She'll come through. And it really never did happen. And tell us why you were throwing up on the course, trying to get your 6th in a row in New Zealand.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Sorry. I'll try to not tear up. I was so upset to not win is the wrong thing to say, but I was so disappointed in myself, because I thought I let the town of Taupo down. They've been so good to me. We've won the, full 5 times, the half 3 times. And I was like, this would be my 9th win, right, in this wonderful town. And it was just so bittersweet, because I came 3rd. It wasn't a bad day. It was, a podium, yay, but it still wasn't the victory that, hearing my name, hearing the word gumption and all the things. And I was like, man, what's wrong with me? There's places you land, by the way, that like when I land in Kona, I instantly throw up. It's like, my body just doesn't work there, but it's never happened in Auckland and New Zealand and Taupo, right? So I'm just like throwing up around the course, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? Did I eat something? What? Yeah. Anyway, bittersweet, but I was probably 5 weeks pregnant with Mac. Yeah. So it was very bittersweet. I did race. This is silly, but maybe it'll help people. I did race Oceanside at 8 weeks pregnant, and I'm in the race, and I'm like, Meredith, you're an idiot. You're 39 years old. You've been trying to get pregnant for a long time. You stop right this second. And I literally stopped at T2. I finished the bike. I like smoking jackets the bike, and I just walked off the course. And I know that's terrible. Like, why did you start? And I look back at that, I'm like, I was already signed up. I had my flight. Everything was booked. I felt like I needed to do that. I hadn't told sponsors. And looking back, I was like, that was silly, but I was glad I did it, because I never did it again after that.
Meredith, that's one thing I love about our sport. I've heard that story from pros like yourself and age group athletes. Well, I signed up. I know I thought I had a little stress fracture, but I figured if I just start, maybe
Yeah.
it would work out during the race. I've heard that story so many times, and then you go, I had to stop. I was hurting so bad. And it's just the
Yeah,
nature of our sport. We
it
make a
is.
commitment and we want to follow through on it.
It is true. I will say I've had the opposite happen before, and that's why I find places like Mont Tremblant, for example. I had a horrible shin injury going into the race, and I hadn't run for like 3 weeks. And I remember like I wasn't going to do it. We were there for a camp with Matt Dixon at the time, and the plan was just to swim and then bike. And hey, if you're running and it hurts and you think you're going to break your leg, basically, let's stop. Well, I get in. And I start going, and it hurts so badly, but I don't think it's going to break. And I finished that sucker. We ended up getting the win, and I swear to you, it healed me. I was healed. Like, I'm not kidding you. I was sore the next day and stuff, and then I never thought about it again. So to me and my brain, the way it works is that place is a completely healing place for me, no matter what. And no matter what place I get, it's just like a healing environment for me. Yeah.
Meredith, I want to put a disclaimer on that by saying, the thing we always hear, hey, everybody, don't try this at home.
I know, don't do that. It could have gone really south. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you brought up Kona, and Kona's Kona.
Mm-hmm.
The races you've had there, you did finish 7th. That was your highest finish there. But you just had days that just turned into poop. I mean, absolute poop.
God. Yeah.
But there's a finish you had there, which I being a friend and knowing you and having so much respect for you, I was so proud of you.
Thank
Dave
you.
Downey, who was on, was proud. We all were of you finishing at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
When I'm out there bringing the final ones in. Tell us about your 10 p.m. finish.
Yeah.
And what that taught you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here's the deal. Kona, like I've told you, I wish I could say I've finished 78 Ironmans, but I have 5 DNFs, 3 of which are Kona. I will say one was a crash, one I passed out, one I had just had Mac, and I was like something was just not right. So I was basically passed out. But that one is, I'm a huge believer, and I want to make a disclaimer. I understand as professionals, this is our livelihood and all the things, and we have to make business decisions. Absolutely. I 100% get that. That said, as an age group over 9 years, I think it was, I really recognize the privilege of getting to go to Kona. All I could think about was people dream of being on the Queen K. I have so many blood, sweat, and tears on that bad boy, barf everywhere. There's so much of me out there, I realize, but I've walked that Queen K, and I've said this so many times, more than I'd care to ever admit, but I was a firm believer, look, I'm out here with these people who have worked very hard to get here, and I recognize that. And I recognize that privilege, and I recognize how hard they worked and how much this dreadful word sacrifice. I don't love that word, but I also know that without sacrifice, there can be no victory, whatever that victory means to you. And so I guess what I'm saying is I was going to finish what I started. And even if I walked a very long marathon, occasionally barfed, whatever it is. And then, you know what? I remember saying to someone out there, someone said, because I have this habit of DNFing Kona or walking the Queen K and then winning Ironman Arizona 4 weeks later. So this guy, he was so nonchalant. He's like, oh, don't worry. You'll win Arizona in a few weeks. You got this. Just, keep it rolling. I was like, thank you. I like you. I appreciate that.
You talk, they have your resume out there on the course, spitting it back at you. And myself included, and so many of us, Meredith, I'd see you race in New Zealand. I'd see you race in St. George. I'd see you race during the year. And I go, you know what? Meredith, she is in such top form. She's going to be on the podium. She'll be top 3 for sure. I mean, hands down. But it just didn't. It just didn't happen in Kona.
I haven't cracked it. I don't know. You never say never, but I was disappointed. I had qualified this year, and my mom is fine. She got through breast cancer, kidney cancer, all the things. She's great now, but it didn't feel right to go. And also, let's just be honest, where I am in my life now with 2 children, that was sort of also a business decision. Me going and I've done it 12 times. You know what I mean? I'd rather save it for a race that at this point in my career lifts me, enriches my life, and maybe I don't puke everywhere, and it like does well for my body, mind, and spirit. That's where I am with that. Yeah.
What about Nice 2024? Would you consider going there?
Honestly, I would. It's like different, energy. I don't know what it is. It's like the gods in Kona just kind of, take me in, chew me, and spit me out. And I think it'll always eat at me that I've never been able to conquer it. I've tried everything. As you know, I've told you before, I've gone in the day, like 2 days prior. I've gone in a month prior. I've like inserted salt in me. I swear there's something in that bay that I'm just like allergic to or doesn't sit with me, because I go in one athlete and I come out of that water as a completely different athlete. The year I got 7th, let's be honest, awesome, thankful to get 7th. That performance nowadays would not even get me like 20th, 25th probably. So back then it was a little different than it is now, so. So yes, I would 100%, if I were fortunate to qualify for Nice, I would take the slot for sure. Yeah.
Good. You've had, as a lot of the pros had, tough breaks. You've had bike crashes. You, my goodness, broke your vertebrae. You've always been positive. Every time I talk to you, even if it's just one-on-one, or I hear you speak, especially some of your acceptance speeches at the ceremonies, you're a beautiful speaker and everybody loves your words. But where'd you get that positive mental attitude from?
I just think it goes back to, I think, knowing how much people would dream to be in the shoes that I'm in. I mean, I always say that word, recognize the privilege, but I have a lot of meaning behind that, because you know firsthand, because you do it too. I do so much with Challenge Athlete Foundation, and those people would love to be, oh, wow, you got a break, you broke your vertebrae, but it'll heal, or part of your spine or your ribs, it'll heal, And so I think I've always had that mindset. And progress, of course, it still requires good old fashioned hard work. It does. And I know that, but I also know that the hardest thing about Ironman, I think it's why I keep coming back, is that you finish something that you think you actually couldn't. Like, there have been so many dark pockets. Even that time I finished at 10 at night, I'm like, there's so far to go. I feel awful. I don't want to do this. Nothing about me wants to do this. But there's a lot of pride and prowess in doing it, internal, not for anyone else but yourself. And I think I take that mindset into, making sure optimism is sustainable. And that comes with a lot of gratitude for the life that I have, the life I leave. And to be honest, I don't want to be a buzzkill. That doesn't mean that I don't get, I feel that way about you, Mike. Like, you're always peppy and positive, but I'm sure that doesn't mean you don't have bad days. We all have bad days, but it's all about like managing drama, right? Or managing those emotions, and then like turning the attitude around. What we can control the most is that. So me being Nancy negative over A, B, and C, it's no fun. And then you're a buzzkill. I want to lift people, and I only want to be surrounded by people that lift me and enrich my life. So I guess it goes back to that old saying, treat people how you want to be treated. And that's the way I've always, liked to live.
Do you now say in the 2024 season, you'll choose your races, taking a look at them, who's there and things like that. But it's also built around the family schedule, isn't it? Some you just can't go to because of things happening.
Sure.
Will you do that again next year on building your schedule?
Yes, I'm very lucky that no one's getting married and there's no baby showers or wedding shower, because even in my career, I've never missed things like that. I even missed St. George one time for a wedding of a really good friend we grew up with. And I love St. George. I got really lucky. It's the only time it fell on races I really love, but nothing falls on March 1st for Ironman New Zealand. And Mac has been there twice already, when he was 13 months and then when he was 2, and then it was COVID. And then I just went last year when Crew had just turned 5 months. And this year, I would leave Crew home. I can do that. I'm very blessed that, my parents are here and my in-laws, but I want to bring Mac and Aaron, obviously. And currently Mac is set up to go to Kiwi school for the week. And what I love about the village here is even the teachers at Mac's school are like, take him out of school for a week. put the experience he'll remember for a lifetime. And I love that they weren't like, you really shouldn't have him leave for a week. You know what I mean? It's kindergarten. I realize he's 6, but still, I'm glad they were like, take him these experiences. And he went with me to Mont Tremblant in August. He didn't miss school because it hadn't started, but he went to Maryland. He missed a couple days, and they were like, do it, take him. And he'll remember his mom finishing a race and more than maybe what he learned in kindergarten that day. So I really want to be there for Ironman New Zealand, and I'm planning on it. I'm training for it for the 40th anniversary in Taupo. That would be just the most magical day for me.
I personally, and I haven't told anybody, I hadn't even told Rose. I've been looking at flights over there at that time. But and I'm thinking, it's a 40th anniversary just to hang around and be with everybody, because it's just family. So I don't know if I can pull it off, but I'd love to be there with you.
Can you unretire for like one race? Could you just like unretire for just like that one race? And Ironman pays for you to come out, Mike. You unretire for the 40th anniversary, and then we go back. And Rose comes too.
You could be my agent. You talk to Ironman.
I'll talk to him. I'll call him on up. Yes, I love it.
Meredith, let's say there's a time that you are done, say whether it's 48 years old, 51.
Yeah.
Would you jump into coaching full time to stay a part of the sport? What would you do?
It's funny. Oddly, I have been, I've coached for 10 years, or more, even when I was under Matt Dixon, but it's always been people. So I have caveats, like people have to have a life outside of swim, bike, run. Like I'm a balanced person. I don't want you missing that baby shower for this, or your best friend's kid's birthday party for this, for training. We'll make it work. And I've been fortunate that some of my athletes I've had for a decade, and I let them come in and out. You get recovery, you go do your own thing. But yes, I think I really enjoy, as I told you, lifting others and making them better. And now I watch people who I raced with, Julie Dibbins, crushing coaching, Hillary Biscay, crushing. I love it so much. And you know what it is? We don't even have, to be honest, we don't even have the sciencey background like a Dan Plews has, but we have experience, and nothing can beat experience in that regard. And my target market, honestly, is middle-aged age groupers, moms, dads, whatever it is. They don't have to be the best. They just want to work hard. They want to finish what they started, and they want to have a goal of finishing an Ironman, going sub 12, going sub 9, and I want to be there for it. And so I can totally see myself doing it. Although I'm doing it now, but I could, when I don't have maybe the training part, you know me, I'll always train, but I beef up the roster. But now I know what I can handle, because as you know about me, I talk to each of my athletes every day. And even Aaron's like, do you have to talk to them every day? You could have like 5 more athletes. I'm like, yes, I do, because I care. And that's important to me. So, but yes, I've been in the sport since 2000, right? It would be hard to be like, see ya. And I always said I'd retire when my kids have like activities. My kids are young. They're 6 and 15 months, but I'm like, Matt kind of has activities, but I'm not missing anything. As long as I'm not missing anything, I'm still passionate about it. And I say this, I'm hopefully I haven't told you this, but Bevan Doherty and texted me one time, and I get like teary. He retired because he said, I had done it so long. I'm tired, right? It's not that he lost the passion, but he did. I didn't have that like, I didn't have the feathers puffing. I wasn't like thriving out there. Right. And he said something like, I still see that you are, even if I got 3rd in New Zealand, whatever it was. And I still see that you're right. And that was one of the best compliments someone's given me, because I still have that. I don't ever dread training. I get to train, right? And so I don't dread it. And I think that if that day ever comes, it may or may not, I might be 60, Mike, and still have things slow down, and I don't want to miss my kids' activities, but I mean, I don't see myself caving into retirement anytime soon, but
who is the oldest Ironman? Is it Dee Dee, the oldest female Ironman winner?
Actually, it's Three people. It's 45. They were 45. So if I got it at 45, I would just be tied. So Torsten Rod said you have to be 46. I'll tell you who it is. He just told me maybe a few months ago. It's Nina Kraft, Ironman Louisville, 45 years old. It's Fernanda Keller, Ironman Brazil, and Natasha Badman. Yeah, so those three ladies hold the oldest at 45 years old. Yeah.
But you won't be 46
till
next
June.
March.
till June.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. But yeah, it does. Yeah. So I've got, another couple years to try. But Mel McQuaid too, she has the same goal. She wants to, I know her goals because when I commentate, I know her goals. She wants to go sub 9. Yeah. She wants to win an Ironman and she wants to qualify for Kona, and she hit that goal. So that's exciting.
You brought up commentating. When you do that, which you're marvelous at.
Thank you.
Do you find yourself like, man, I wish I was out there? Yeah.
What's funny is I'm like, this is a long day. And usually when I'm commentating, I either had just done one or have one in like a few weeks. But usually if I'm commentating too, it's not the race. Although I commentated Arizona when we talked, because it was your last race
right.
To commentate. And I had an 11-week-old, so I would have loved to do that, but instead I was commentated, so I still felt a part of it. And then I remember, I think Sarah True and Sky, they were like first and second because I talked about them a lot. They were up front all day. And I was like, oh man, I wish I was in the mix with them. But there's always a time and a place based on where you are in your life. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing, Meredith, when you're doing that? You're commentating on the race. I was following Ironman Arizona online. And then I'd go do stuff. Then I did yard work. Then I went for a bike ride. Then I came back and had dinner and then came back in, watched it some more. And I'm going, how the heck did I stay out there all those hours? The race is still going on. And I had this life of a day. I go, how'd we do that?
Oh, yeah. Your days would start at 3 a.m. and end at 1 a.m. I mean, just think what you did in that time. And you always said, and this was my favorite thing, is that in the next morning at the awards, you'd say, my voice feels like your legs. I always loved that because it's true. They had to. All that screaming and bringing people in all day and commentating yourself. It was awesome. Yeah.
Just a long day. By the way, Meredith, how impressed were you with the women's race in Kona this year?
Oh my gosh. I mean, could you even believe it? That Lucy, she just earned that win, deserved that win. And as someone who does a lot of indoor training, it was comforting to know that, wow, see, she did all that trainer right. And it's funny because I laugh about this. And if Lucy ever hears this, she will say the only time I've ever beat Lucy Charles in anything was in a Zwift back in COVID, we had Zwift competitions, and it was always Lucy and I, because I'm a professional indoor trainer. I'm like, is there something wrong with my trainer? We had to weigh in and everything because I'm up there with Lucy. All right. And then in the final, because we would bike and run, we'd bike, run, bike. So we'd do like a 20-minute hard bike, a 20-minute hard run, and then right back to the bike. It was so much fun. And that's what we had during COVID sometimes. And we got paid from Zwift. It was awesome. And that's my one claim to fame with Lucy. And we'd have good camaraderie. And, as someone who's 16 years older than her, like, I just feel that she's really got her head together and really appreciates being world champion now, and she earned it, man, to all those seconds, and then she got her victory. So, but then just watching everyone else, obviously Annie Haug, Laura Phillip, and then of course my peers. Look at Laura Siddell, who is no spring chicken. I mean, she's I think 42, 43, and she's still crushing it out there. So, but I enjoyed watching them all. It seems so easy watching it. Like Lucy looked like she was just smoking a stogie all day, like no big deal. But I know how hard it is. So yeah.
She looked fluid all day long. It was beautiful.
And so did Daniela, who just is always just like poker face, whether she's good day, bad day. You've brought her in for victories a lot, so you know.
What do you think about the new Ironman Pro prize money, and how's that been accepted? What do you think about that?
For people like Lucy, Daniela, Amazing. I think that's great. I wish that we would have had all this stuff like PTO, which, as you probably remember, Rennie, a lot of us are spearheaded PTO 10 years ago. And so we feel great. Tim O'Donnell, like all these, Sarah Pompiano, we were all part of this. And now to watch, the PTO have all this funding, Aaron and I laugh. He was like, oh, you would have made a lot more money. I'm like, I get that now. Thanks, Aaron. I know. But then for Ironman 2 now to step up and have the similar thing, like there are some triathletes, and yes, I know there's controversy, like the top 20 will make a lot of money. And, I always tell the girls that want to get to, honestly, that want to have a baby is get yourself high up on the ranking and then do it, because they're going to make money from the maternity clause too. So that's really cool to watch. And Rachel, Joyce, Rennie, we all laugh at that because we didn't have that back then, or else, we would have made a little more money too. But what's great is that we spearheaded it happening. And so the fact that Ironman now has a whole, now will I go and do Lake Placid and that? No, that would defeat my asterisk by a race, right? But I'll pick the races that probably aren't part of that, but that's 45-year-old Meredith. 35-year-old Meredith would have a different conversation about it with you.
Yeah. Have you thought, I watch Heather Jackson got out and she's, running 100-mile races, doing gravel. Have you ever thought about jumping into the gravel world or the ultra running?
Yeah. Okay. Here's my deal. Never gravel. I'm not technical enough. Never 100-mile runs. No. That said, this is new, and you're going to be the first to know is I would like, okay, I can't conquer Kona. I know that, but I'm going to conquer something on that island maybe someday. And I would like, eventually, I'm not saying this year, maybe it's in my 50s. I don't know. Maybe it's late 40s. I would like to do Ultraman, I feel like that might be, because you're not going like, here I am. I'm going to do 10,000, right? Day one, you do 10,000 in that water, but it's different. It's not quite, it's the other way. Maybe I won't get as sick as I do in that bay. And then it's a 180-mile ride, day one. Okay. Day two, I'm going to ride, or it's a 90-mile run. Yeah. Day two, I'm going to ride 180 miles. Day three, I'm going to run from Hobby to Kona. What? That's insane. Yeah. But I'm hoping maybe by that time I'll have 80 Ironmans arbitrarily under my belt. Maybe my muscle memory will just take over and I can figure it out, because I'll have a night to sleep, in between the big stuff. I don't know. Well, I'm thinking about it.
I have to tell you, with so many of us that know what your history is there, it's almost like humorous right now that you told me that. Okay, Meredith's history in Kona. Well, guess what? She wants to do Ultraman, do double of everything. So because it'll be better.
I have but you know what?
It may be. You never know.
You never know, and I won't not. Now I need another one. What's smart for me though to do is like Canada Ultraman, another Ultraman in somewhere that's not saltwater. Yeah, but it's just not as good, right? It's not as good as the world, in Kona. It is. It's true, but we'll see. I'll see what the world brings to me in the next few years in that regard.
Meredith, what do you want Mac and crew to learn from their mom about passion and perseverance?
I thank you for asking. You know what? I just want them, every day on the way to school, Mac and I say, he says it now like himself. All right, what are we talking about today? To be nice, kind, and caring. Say your please and thank yous. Don't be a bully. Always try your best. Be resilient. He's learned what the word resilient means. Be respectful. Never give up. Always try your best. And of course, we always end it with work hard, be a team player, work hard, be strong, and give it some gumption. And he understands, even at 3 years old, we've been doing this, what gumption means. It means, like I said, progress still requires good old fashioned hard work. And the new wave of humans, my children included, they might not understand what good old fashioned hard work is unless their parents instill it on them. And that's what I'm working hard to do. Nothing gets spoon fed to you. You have to earn your bacon. And that is something that I've always tried to do. I'm still trying to do it, every day. It's a hustle. And I've always, admired that that stance. I watched that, and he talks about, and this is heavy, and I teach Mac this slowly, that no human can escape pain, uncertainty, and constant work, right? No human can escape pain, uncertainty, and constant work. And I think about that so much. We all experience pain, that we all have like anxiousness with uncertainty, the unknown before an Ironman. You've seen all those faces before an Ironman. They're like ghosts, right? Like, oh my gosh, what's this day going to bring? You know, and then constant work. We're always working for something. And that right there is what I want to teach both my boys, is that you have to work hard to reap the benefits of that. And it's not going to be hand delivered to you.
I'm seeing that, you know, with my daughter and her two sons. My daughter and son-in-law do the same thing. But I have in the garage, I've got the trainer, the bike, the weights and everything.
Yep.
And Rose goes across the street to a personal trainer twice a week and on Sunday mornings. And when the boys are here on the weekend, I take them over there. And the trainer, who loves them, loves the boys, has them do 15, 20 minutes. And we bought them free weights for Christmas. So I can't wait to give them these free weights for Christmas. I don't know if they think Papa and Nene are crazy but it's our lifestyle. And we, when you pass that on, you just create much stronger humans, because
it's so true.
You're right. Life is going to throw some curveballs at them, and they got to figure out how to hit them.
No. And I like that, your grandchildren see you and Rose working out. And like, even now, Max, like, if he wakes up early, he's like, are we going to the gym? And like, we'll go, and he has a bike and he rides his bike next to the treadmill. Yeah. Keep in mind, he has like a show on whilst he's riding his bike, but he's moving. I'm running on the treadmill or on my trainer. He's like, okay, are we going to the gym? I'm up early. And I like that, because I don't know, there is beauty and effort and patience and perseverance. And I want to teach him that, and hard work.
So we've talked a lot about things that have happened at events that you've been at. But one of my last questions is called tri-table racing. It comes out of table racing, comes out of the Baja 1000. We've got friends that race their trucks down, and they've won the Baja 1000, and I've been down there with them racing. And they sit around the table afterwards and they reminisce about the event. It's called table racing. I call this tri-table racing. Reminisce with us about an event or something that happened at an event or something that comes to your mind that you'd like to tell the audience about.
Gosh, I have so many. Obviously, I could write a book, right? Just like you on it. Just like, it's just, there was, the sport can be so laser focused on self. And I remember being in a race with Leanda Cave, Vineman, and she could not get her wetsuit off in T1. And like, it was like she was so nervous twice with Leanda, actually. One time we're in T1 and she couldn't get her wetsuit off. And she's like, Mare, we're next to each other and I can't get my wetsuit off. You better believe, like, to be honest, I don't know if that help would happen nowadays. It's gotten quiet out there. It's just a different vibe, but old school time. I took 30 seconds, whatever, to help her unzip her wetsuit. And she beat me by like 30 seconds. And she's laughing about it. She's like, you shouldn't have helped me. I'm like, stop. That is like, no, zip it. No, there's nothing. I love that. And then another time she got a cramp in Ironman Arizona. She won that one too. And she stops and I go, what's wrong? I'm like, we're swimming next to each other. What's wrong? And she's like, I got a cramp. Would you go? She yells at me like in a nice way. Go, I'll be fine. And she passed me on the marathon. She ran like she broke 3 hours and she did awesome. So like stuff like that is fun. There's camaraderie out there. I love riding with girls legally, where it's like, Annabelle Luxford, will you take a pull? 5 minutes, Sarah Crawley, 5 minutes. And one time Sarah Crawley dropped me and we talked about it later and she goes, I forgot to give you the memo that I was going to go really hard for like 5 minutes. So it's like, you just like having that. Here's the deal. If triathlon could be a team sport, I'm the first to time. Like, I wish I could be a domestique for like, I don't know, whatever I could do for someone who was like, I guess, maybe they're a really good cyclist and a really good runner, but they're not as good at swimming and they'd want to swim my pace. So one that I could do for them, obviously I couldn't be a domestique for people better than me, but for someone that isn't in a certain modality, I would love that. So I thought, hey, Ironman, could I be hired just as like a domestique for certain people if they need someone just a little bit, you know?
You'd
That'd
be
be
out there
fun
for
for
that.
me. I like that. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the younger Meredith probably would have loved to get into the Super League with that team aspect.
That is fun. I know.
It's fun.
Honestly,
Very fun.
Ironman should do that though, like have a relay sometime and someone does a swim. But yeah, I mean, you think about that. There could be some killer relays with like Lucy in the
Yeah.
swim, Danielle
Yeah.
on the bike, or Lisa Norden rather on the bike, and then have Ann Hogg or Rennie run that marathon. You've got yourself a pretty fast Ironman there.
They'd be so fast, part of the course wouldn't even be set up yet. That'd probably be the problem.
Exactly. It's very cool how fast it's getting out there.
So Meredith, how can people find you and see what you're doing and all that good stuff? And if they want any coaching advice?
Yeah, absolutely. Anyone can email me anytime. I'm an open book. It's why we wrote Life of a Triathlete. And it's funny because I need it. That was, 8 years ago. And there's a whole new edition of thoughts, whether it's nutrition and, just how I've aged. I wrote that book when I was 35. Well, now I'm 45 with 2 kids. And so, even my recovery is different. I cryotherapy every day for 3 minutes. I bring both boys to this place called Icebox. Like, I don't have time in a good way. I just don't have time to like sit in boots for an hour and take a nap, So I pick up Mac at school. That's what we did when I told you my schedule earlier. Pick them up at school. We go straight to Icebox. And they sit outside with the amazing people there. And I get in a freezing cold box for 3.5 minutes. And then I get out and I feel like a new person. But that's my recovery nowadays. But people can reach me anytime to ask any questions. mbk@meredithkessler.com. Hit me up on Instagram @mbkessler. I am taking on some new athletes for coaching, as long as you have a life outside of swim, bike, and run and a balanced mindset. I'm here. I'm here for it, and I'm here for you. And if you just want to talk about the mindset behind Ironman, it can be a goth, dark day out there, but then there can also be so much light, especially when we get to you, Mike. And I've always said that just before every time I'm looking at the cannon and I put my goggles on, I've just been like, just get to Mike Reilly. Yeah.
Oh, thank you for that. And you know what? It's funny, as tough of a day as it is and what people go through, it's very seldom I don't see a smiling face at the finish line.
Yeah.
So what's that tell you,
Oh my gosh, what doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah,
just
I know.
the accomplishments. Think how many times, remember Lindsay Corbin and I running
Oh,
that wonderful lady down the finish chute just to make it by midnight. I mean, that's Ironman right there.
yes.
Right?
And
That's the
I
best.
was going to mention that because on page 200 of my book, one of my most favorite pictures, Ironman Coeur d'Alene, when you finished 1 and 2
I love
and
that.
gave me a little peck on the cheek there. So
Those were
that.
the days. Oh, I love that so much. And I love that in your book. Yeah.
was
Those are
beautiful.
great days. Yeah.
Meredith, go be with the kids. I know you got dinner cooking and all that good stuff. And tell Aaron I said hello, and I hope he catches a lot of fish, fly fishing. And, I went fly fishing in December, didn't catch one with Brent. So I got to come back. I got to figure that out.
All right.
So
I'm going to look for flights
much.
for you from San Diego for you and Rose.
Yeah, you do that. Thank you again, everybody, for listening to another edition of Find Your Finish Line. Meredith Kessler, one of the most amazing class acts our sport of triathlon has ever seen. If you'd like to see the show and go to all the places, the Apple Podcasts, give us a review if you would. That'd be great. And go to MikeReilly.net if you'd like to have a personal video message from me to your loved ones for the holiday. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Be safe out there, especially on the bike. Aloha.